Simplified trigonometric identities can be simple, and it's something that you need some practice on. So in this video, I want to cover 8 different examples where I'm going to apply the product between our trigonometric expressions. And we're going to work through multiplying and then simplifying using our trigonometric identities. Now, the identities we're going to focus on is the reciprocal identities, the quotient identities, as well as the Pythagorean identities. In this video, we're not going to get to the product sum or sum and difference, double angle, or half angle. We're just going to keep it simple. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and tackle how to multiply trigonometric expressions and simplify them using our identities. So the first problem is the sine of x times the cosecant of x. Now, you might already recognize these to be reciprocals of each other, but it's really important to understand how and why they're reciprocals of each other. And the reason why they're reciprocals of each other is what we call the reciprocal identities. Now, it doesn't really matter how you want to be able to do this. You could keep the sine of x the exact same, and then you could just rewrite the cosecant of x as a 1 over a sine of x. Then remember, using the division property, you can see the sine of x are going to divide out, which is just going to leave me with my final answer of 1. You also could rewrite this as the cosecant of x times a cosecant of x, and you could do the exact same thing in this case. Now, the one thing though I don't want you to do, and this is very important as we're going to move forward for these other examples, is don't go ahead and apply both identities to both of these functions, because then if you do that, you're not going to be able to apply the reciprocal identity or the division property. You can see in this case, they still multiplied equal 1, but you have to understand that. And if you don't understand that initially, then you're looking only for the division property. This is not going to give you that division property. So that's why always look for the division property. It's going to make your life a lot easier as we move forward to more and more examples. Now in this next example, you can see all I did was add an extra function. So now we're multiplying 3 trigonometric functions. Now, whenever I'm dealing with tangent and other trigonometric functions, a lot of times it's kind of a giveaway to rewrite things in terms of sines and cosines. I know that tangent and its reciprocal are cotangent, but I don't see cotangent there. So when that's not the case, I always like to rewrite tangent as a sine of x over a cosine of x. And then cosecant, I can rewrite that as a 1 over a sine of x. And I'm just going to leave cosine the same. Now, again, the reason why I left cosine the same is once I converted tangent of x to sine over cosine, I knew that cosine was in the denominator. So I like that cosine is now in the numerator. And the same thing, I don't have anything to divide out with the cosecant. So I knew it was in my best interest to rewrite a sine of x in my denominator. And again, if you notice, everything in this case is going to divide out, leave me with a 1 over a 1, which is going to be my simplified expression. Now in this example, you can see it's very similar to the last example. I'm going to, first thing I recognize here is this cotangent can be written in terms of cosines and sines. So I'm going to write that as a cosine of theta over a sine of theta. Now I'm not going to do anything with the cosine of theta and the sine of theta because they're already in terms of sines and cosines, right? So I want to leave them there. Since this multiplication, I can rewrite this, right? 2 times 3 times 4 is the same thing as 4 times 2 times 3. So the order doesn't matter, but the sine of thetas, they can divide out across multiplication. And remember, that is in the numerator and this sine is in the denominator. Now in this next case here, we have a cosine of theta times a cosine of theta. So just remember that is going to be a cosine of theta quantity squared. Now, typically how we like to write this though, is we like to write this as a cosine squared of theta. So that is going to be your final simplified answer here as a cosine squared of theta. Now in this next example, what we're going to do is apply some different identities, which actually are going to be the even odd identities as well as the cofunction identities. And these are going to be very helpful to be able to apply because whenever you see a negative angle inside of the argument of your trigonometric function, you're going to think of the even odd identities. And whenever you see this pi halves minus x, you're going to want to think of your cofunction identities. So as long as you kind of have them either listed in front of you or you remember them, it's going to be very easy to apply them first. And then we can go ahead and apply looking into how to simplify these two identities. So the tangent of negative x is actually going to be equivalent to negative tangent of x. Now I'm just going to use parentheses here because we're still using multiplication of these two tangent functions. Now the tangent of pi halves minus x using the cofunction identity is actually equivalent to a cotangent of x. So now you recognize I have a tangent of x times a cotangent of x, and these are going to be reciprocals of one another. So therefore we know they're just going to equal 1. But since this is a negative tangent and that's a positive cotangent, they're going to equal a -1. All right, now in this example, you see 1 minus cosine squared of theta. And I think one thing I want you to always pay attention to is whenever you see a trigonometric function squared, always think of your Pythagorean identities. It's not always going to be the truth that you're always going to use them. However, I always think that's a good place to kind of start. So this 1 minus cosine squared of theta, again, is also another thing that trips up a lot of students because a lot of students remember your Pythagorean identities as sine squared of theta plus the cosine squared of theta equals 1. And they don't recognize how am I going to get this? Well, Well, notice if I just go ahead and simplify a cosine squared of theta on both sides, I get a sine squared of theta equals a 1 minus a cosine squared of theta. So 1 minus cosine squared of theta is equal to a sine squared of theta. This is very important because now I can rewrite this as a sine squared of theta times a cosecant of theta. Now, it's important when we're looking at this that we also remember, again, I'm looking for this division property, right? And also remember that the sine squared of theta is equivalent to a sine of theta quantity squared, which is really a sine of theta times a sine of theta. So an easier way to go ahead and represent this so I can see what's going to divide out is I can rewrite a sine squared of theta as a sine quantity squared times 1 over a sine of theta. Now, by multiplying these and breaking the sine of theta quantity squared, I can rewrite this as a sine of theta times a sine of theta all over a sine of theta. Now you can see these sine of thetas are going to divide out using the division property, and that's just going to leave me with a sine of theta as my simplified result. All right, in this example, you can see I have a binomial times a binomial. So remember, you're going to want to apply the distributive property. And if it's difficult or confusing to multiply distributive property with a trigonometric function, you can also just use a variable or a number just to kind of help you get over the hump. But the main thing that I recognize here first is I have a sine of negative y. So remember, the tangent of negative x was equal to a negative tangent of x. Well, guess what? The sine of negative y is also going to be equal to a negative sine of y. It's important to note that the cosine of a negative theta is equal to cosine of theta. So actually, that one is not going to change signs, but this is actually going to be equivalent to a negative sine of y. So now I'm going to go ahead and rewrite the problem. And now you can see that actually this plus and minus, I can really just write as a subtraction problem. Here's where things actually get pretty good for us, because if we recognize here, the 1 plus sine of y times 1 minus sine of y is actually going to be a difference of 2 squares. So therefore, all I simply need to do is multiply my first two terms and then multiply my last two terms, because the middle terms are going to add to 0. So when I do that, I'm now going to get a 1 minus a sine squared of y. And again, going back to my original Pythagorean identity that I have over here, rather than subtracting a cosine squared of theta, what if I subtracted a sine squared of theta on both sides? Well, then I would have a 1 minus, a sine squared is going to equal to a cosine squared. Now, again, in this case, we're using theta as the angle, and now we're using a y. But again, the idea is going to be exact same. So this simplified answer is going to be a cosine squared of y. Now, in this example, it looks very similar to the last example. We see a binomial times another binomial. And again, I want you to recognize this, that this is in this form of a plus b times a minus b. So when we go ahead and multiply these out, again, this is just going to give us the a squared minus b squared. So all we simply need to do is multiply these first two terms and then multiply the last two terms, because again, the middle terms are going to add to 0. So in this case, I'm going to get a secant squared of theta minus a tangent squared of theta. Now, technically now we have multiplied them, but one thing I recognize is with the Pythagorean identities, I can actually further simplify this. So if we go back to our original Pythagorean identity, and we simply just divide everything by a cosine, we get something new. We now get an equation tangent squared of theta plus 1 equals secant squared of theta, which is also just another Pythagorean identity. What's cool about this is now I can rewrite this secant squared of theta as a tangent squared plus 1. So by doing that, I now have a tangent squared of theta plus 1 minus a tangent squared of theta. Well, obviously, the tangent squareds of thetas are now going to subtract to 0, which is just going to leave me with a final answer of 1. All right, in this final example, we're just going to apply the distributive property. We're just going to make sure we distribute the cosine of theta times the tangent of theta, and then we're going to multiply the cosine of theta times the expression secant of theta sine of theta. But we're not going to multiply it to both of these because these are separated by multiplication. So you can only distribute across addition and subtraction with the distributive property here. So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite everything. Now, automatically, I know that when I'm dealing with tangent here and a cosine, I'm going to want to rewrite this in terms of sines and cosines. So I'm automatically here going to write tangent as a sine of theta over a cosine of theta. And I'm going to do the exact same thing over here. I'm going to write the cosine of theta, and then I'm just going to immediately rewrite secant of theta as a 1 over a cosine of theta, and then times a sine of theta. And again, I like to visualize and see when and how I can apply the division property. So in this case, the cosine of thetas are going to divide out, and here the cosine of thetas are going to divide out, and that's just going to leave me with a sine of theta plus a sine of theta. Now, in this case, just like when we did multiplication, like x times x is x squared, if I were to add x plus x, I would get a 2x. And that's exactly what we have here. We have two trigonometric functions. Since they're both the same, I can just simplify this to a 2 sine of theta. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is some examples on how to multiply your trigonometric expressions. Now, if this video was helpful for you, give me a super thanks right down below. Or if you just want more examples on how to multiply trigonometric expressions, check my playlist down below, or you can watch the next video I have for you here. Cheers.